Welcome ladies and gentlemen, my name is dr.J and this is the 15th episode of my series How to Complete Hollow Knight. Last time we went on a shopping spree and bought pretty much everything that could be bought in the game, with the one notable exception being the last nail upgrade, as we still need more pale ore for it. Things will now pick up quite a bit though, as we won't be doing as much exploration and we'll start ticking off those bosses. Now we'll be entering the fog cannon, and while going towards our first dreamer, there are a few things to collect. First is a Hallownest seal. The almas never disappoint. Next we'll be getting another charm notch from a challenge room. There's some very precise platforming here, so just be patient. This is actually my second try to get the notch. It's very easy to die here and not a lot of chances to replenish your soul. So as I said, be patient and take it slowly. It might be a good idea to kill the almas so you can get a little bit more soul for a safety buffer. Unfortunately, the volatile wakes also cause 2 masks of damage. And finally we've made it. The charm notch is well worth the effort. Well, to be fair, I was asking for that. Anyway, next up is Cornifer. This whole area is littered with volatile wakes, so you have to carefully navigate around them. Cornifer is on the top left ledge in this room. Indeed, these caves do seem to be quite unusual. The environment is quite similar to Greenpath, and there are various structures from the Kingdom of Hallownest situated here. My theory is that this was once part of Greenpath, but for some reason after the corruption set, this area was dramatically changed. We'll go back to the vertical shaft again and take the lowest left exit now. There's a group we need to free before entering the teacher's archive. One explanation on why this area has changed could be because of the large amounts of acid pools here. Though why there are so many in an area so removed from isthmus groves, I have no idea. Another and perhaps a more plausible one, considering the appearance of the dreamer here, is that the jellyfish are some kind of experiment, or perhaps even akin to the dreamer. We are nearly at our next grub. We super dash from here and end up directly at grub number 33. Oh hey Quirrell, fancy meeting you here. I wonder what it is that's calling Quirrell here. Let's use a conveniently placed bench. Jeez, do you think you have enough jellyfish here? Yeah, with this amount of jellyfish, there must be a link to the dreamer. Just follow the corridors and eventually we'll meet our next boss. Okay, so the Umu boss fight. At first he's absolutely immune to all damage. You just have to survive until Quirrell arrives. He only has 2 attacks, but they are both annoying. The first one fills the room with lightning spots, so just find a safe place. The other is again a lightning attack, but this time it follows you for a while until it dissipates. When Quirrell arrives, he'll start attacking Umu and eventually he breaks his shield, leaving it vulnerable for your attacks. Repeat until he's defeated. The fight is quite long since there's very little you can do to speed it up. In the Got Home version of this fight you have somewhat more control on how long it will go on. But here you are entirely dependent on how long it takes for Quirrell to break his defenses. And while you can't really save time, you can lose a lot of time if you're not ready to dish out the maximum amount of damage when he's vulnerable. Actually, there is a strategy where you can one-cycle Umu, but it requires the Abyss Shriek, which is quite a detour in order to obtain it. If you do decide to use it though, you can equip a Shaman Stone and with 3 casts Umu's dead. After the fight, we just need to find Monomon, the teacher's chamber. The chamber is located directly below the arena, so it doesn't really matter if you go right or left. Both paths lead to the same place. And here we are. Meet Monomon, the teacher. So it was the dreamer that was calling Poirot. Let's see what else he can tell us. We need to use the dream now so we can enter Monomon's dream and confront her. And by confront her, I obviously mean kill her. That's one dreamer down, 2 more to go. Of course, we'll have quite a lot of work to do before we get to the other 2. I find the focus on the masks in this game very interesting. We'll learn a bit more about the philosophy of the masks later on. Now let's get out of the teacher's archive and go get our last spell. When I said last spell, I meant the last of the 4 basic spells. We obviously still have to upgrade them as well. If you're looking to complete the Hunter's Journal, you should go inspect the jar full of lumaflies over there. It will give you a journal entry. Another way to quickly get out of teacher's archive would be to save and quit, since we got the bench in the beginning. Let's open this shortcut and continue all the way to the left. In this part of the Fog Canyon, it's mostly environmental hazards. There are not a lot of enemies, and those that do exist are easily avoidable. The charged lumaflies are not particularly difficult, it's just something you have to keep in mind while platforming. A quick detour for another Hallownest seal. Next we'll be heading towards the overgrown mound, another of the snail shaman's habitats, though this one, unlike the ancestral mound, has lost its shaman. The appearance of the mossfly is a further proof of the connection between the green path and the Fog Canyon. They look similar to the moss creep, but are actually much easier to deal with. They can barely move and can't hide in the background. You didn't think it would be that easy to get our spell, did you? Though to be fair, the squid gauntlet is not much of a challenge. And this is the Howling Rage spell. It has a huge area of attack and is extremely useful when used properly. Also, you can see the remains of this area snail shaman in the background. Great, with this we are now done here, so let's go back to Green Path. It's a good idea to still continue collecting geo where you can, since we will still be needing the 3500 geo for the fountain tree built at the minimum. That said, we will be getting a large amount pretty much for free, so unless you want to go for the unbreakable charms, don't feel the need to go out of your way collecting it. Okay, so let's go back to the first large open area after we left the teacher's archive. Once there, we'll have to climb to the top of it in order to reach the exit to Green Path. These guys are really the champions of dodgeball. Even if I successfully avoid the core, I still lose a ton of time. We will only be collecting stuff during this visit to Green Path. First is a Wanderer's Journal. Then we have a massive moss charger to deal with. It's really easy, and the only difference with the regular moss charger is that it doesn't recoil when hit and can leap through the air. Next is a geo chest, a grub and a vessel fragment. And that's how you kill the Gulka. Over here is the geo chest. Completely optional, but since it's on the way, why not collect it? Grab number 34, saved. There's a low tablet on the left. Again, completely optional, but it won't lose you any time to go read a bit more about the history of this world. This is actually a warning from the Moskin tribe. Since they retain their faith in Un, they're wary of the Pale King and his followers. This is the vessel fragment. Now we'll be going back all the way to the right to get another mask shard and challenge a warrior's grave. We now need to go all the way back to the first area in Green Path we entered from the Fog Canyon exit. More for completion's sake than any real need. If your timing's right, you can very quickly kill the Gulkas. A quick detour in order to grab a bench. Okay, so our next objective is the Stone Sanctuary. There, the first of the dream bosses is waiting for us. Both the mask fragment and the grave are in the Stone Sanctuary. With this fragment we get another mask. Back to the previous room and the boss fight. No Eyes is a somewhat annoying fight. She constantly teleports around but does not have any direct attacks. What she does is continuously summon spirits that travel horizontally across the arena. As long as you keep an eye on them, there's no real way to die here, but it could take a long time to defeat her. The other annoying thing is that the field of vision is very limited, and you could lose valuable seconds figuring out where she has teleported to. But again, as long as you're not too reckless, there's plenty of opportunity to heal, so it's not a difficult fight. You can use the Howling Raid spell you just got on No Eyes, since apart from her teleporting, she doesn't move. Just be mindful that she might teleport if you take too long to get in position. Which is why I mostly prefer to just use the nail. Yeah, it takes longer, but since there's not much reason to hurry unless you're going for the speedrunning achievements, I didn't bother with setting up for the spell. It does take quite a few hits though. She's quite tanky. With No Eyes defeated, we are done with Green Path and we'll be going to Queen Station for another Wanderer's Journal and to travel to the City of Tears. Again a mention of the light that's haunting the books. Okay, so now all we've got to do is drop down through the Fog Canyon in order to reach the Fungal Wastes and the Queen Station. It's quite a trip, but there's not much to do on the way. And thankfully we won't be seeing much more from the jellyfish. And we're nearly there. Now just go down a bit to the room where Willow is. Why do I get the feeling Willow wasn't munching only on the fungus? It's time to go to the Coliseum of Fools, but we will also be collecting a Wanderer's Journal and another vessel shard on the way. Hey guys! Once we defeated her guardian, the Dreamer did not put much of a fight. It actually even seemed like she wanted us to kill her, since she was the one that called Quirrell back, and thus made herself vulnerable by bringing back her mask. In any case, we are now strong enough to challenge the first 2 trials in the Colosseum, so let's go do just that. As always, if you've enjoyed it, please press the like button, and if you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear from you. This will really help me to provide better content for you guys. Hope to see you next time, and until then, have a good one.